See, I remember that time we've said before that Phineas and Ferb, that Ant-Man copied Phineas and Ferb.
Yeah, yep.
And they just straight up did, because in this episode, that's what happens.
We literally get Ant-Man. It's just Ant-Man.
It's just Ant-Man. Have you seen the Ant-Man movies?
Yeah,
They're pretty all right.
It's just a worse version of this, you know?
Yeah, this is again, like we talked about the Star Wars, like the tier list. Top Star Wars ever creation is the Phineas and Ferb Star Wars, and top Ant-Man movie ever is this Phineas and Ferb hide and seek episode.
You're exactly right.
All
Hit
right.
that intro button.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the implications of Phineas and
That's
Ferb
Jeff's Swampy
podcast.
Marsh.
If you want to hear more from him, the co-creator of Phineas and Ferb, talk to us two wankers. Go listen to the end.
Because he came on our show.
It's a good end.
It's a really good episode.
Making a podcast.
So, welcome back to the implications of Phineas and Ferb, where we discuss the implications of Phineas and Ferb. It's Joe and Lachlan.
Yeah,
back
classic.
at you with another episode.
Season 2, episode 13, hide and seek, and that sinking feeling. And
Couple of bangers this time around.
it's just a good app. It's just very good.
Good episode of a good show. It's one of those episodes where there's nothing specifically that just makes you go, oh, this is a god tier moment, but everything is consistently well done, and it's like
everyone sticks to their character, everyone does it really well, and you know it's good from the starting line coming out
there's
of you.
one standout line.
Hide and seek. It's just straight up. So go for it.
Straight into it. The first line of the episode, Buford goes, "It's raining. What kind of fun can you have when it's raining?"
And Isabel
Isabella
says,
goes,
we could talk about each other's feelings.
And Buford goes, "Let me rephrase that. What kind of fun can we have while it's raining?"
And there's like a pause in between the phrasing when he says, oh, top tier delivery, wonderful line.
Same line, just emphasis on the different word. What kind of fun can we have while it's raining? I love this show so much.
Shutting men down for speaking emotional terms. It's good stuff.
So, this episode is the one you've got the synopsis.
I have the synopsis for, and we basically said it. It's Ant-Man.
Yeah, it's
and
Ant-Man,
The
but,
other,
you know,
because they want to have some fun
They
inside.
didn't bother to put it in a suit, but I don't doubt they could if they wanted to.
No, you just have a button that gets everyone in one go. And then it's the first introduction of Irvin.
Yes,
Irvin.
Irving. He's a cool dude.
I don't like Irvin.
He's really weird.
I've
yeah.
never liked Irvin. And you know why? You know why I think I don't like him?
Why?
He reminds me too much of me. I look at him and I'm like, this is how I would be around Phineas and Ferb. Because
100%.
it's fine.
As we mentioned while the theme song was playing, we've met Swampy and we were just there like, oh my God.
But like, oh my God. Anyway, and there's a point where they're just like, do you want to live forever, Irvin? Like trying to get him to do stuff.
Yeah,
And
it's
he's
like, it's like motivation's like, do you want to live forever? And he's like, that's an option.
is that an option? And it is, I think, if you're friends with Phineas and Ferb.
100%. They're going to do the exact same thing that you're going to do, and that is invent nanobots that get rid of aging.
Yes. We'll just remove aging and cancer and all that kind of good stuff.
Yeah, 100%. Just with nanobots, I guess.
Yeah.
My first note that I've got is When You're Small is a banging song.
Oh, yeah.
When
You're
you're
small, every sink is a swimming pool.
It's just a nice... It feels like a really classic Phineas and Ferb song.
Yeah.
Because if you think about, like, the most standout songs, Anchor Rhythm just has those, like, funky, thick drums
But
with the
it isn't-
fills and everything. Or when you think about Busted, it's a lot more synth-based. It's got, like, sort of stuff that's different. This is a song that, much like the episodes, feels like no standout element. There's nothing where you're like, oh, this is the star of this show. But everything is just on point. The delivery is flawless. It's got those rock guitars that you expect from a good
Well,
Phineas and
it's-
Ferb banger. It's good.
It is good.
Danny Jacobs has got some style.
And nearly all of our implications, I think, come out of that one song.
Oh, yep. So there's a bit during that song, the final closing little bit before the song fades
Before we
out.
get into that, the really big one, they changed clothes just really quickly in that thing. And of course, the power of montage, we've discussed that. But I think, like, where did they get it? Like, they're ultra small. Is there like a small tailor? Did they just make their own small clothes? That'd have to be it.
Did they shrink the clothes down?
Ah, so that's a good idea. See, I was thinking they turned small, made the clothes, and then could put them on. But no, they just shrink their clothes. Just Isabel's overnight bag, because there's a bit where they're swimming and they get into their swimmers.
Yeah.
Just shrink that bag, get into it.
Why not? Easy peasy, you know?
Oh, and this entire plot is the plot for the movie Downsizing. Have you seen
I
that
have
movie?
never seen Downsizing.
Well,
no.
it stars Matt Damon, so I'm automatically interested.
Matt
And-
Damon's pretty cool.
Yeah, and the whole point of the movie is this guy, because you earn a certain amount of money and then you give him the choice.
I have a theory about Matt Damon. This is so tangential.
okay, go for
but
it.
I have a theory about Matt Damon. I don't think his face looks particularly normal when it's not on shaky cam.
He's just the man.
I think
He's just a man.
his facial features are so like easy
Man.
to recognize with like simplicity and see them very, very quickly and perceive everything that's part of it. That when it's a shaky cam, like in the Bourne movies, his face looks really normal and it's really easy to tell what expression he's making. But when you shoot him just with a locked off camera, he looks kind of weird.
I think he just looks like a man.
Yeah, he's like nothing.
He's not.
He's just a dude.
He's I think probably maybe above average on attractiveness, but he's still just a man. If you think a man,
He's no Henry Cavill.
he's no Henry Cavill. Like he's no Jude Law, but he is a man, and he's distinctly a man.
Yeah, he's just a dude.
He's just a dude that can act.
Mad respect. Good on you,
Anyway,
Matt Damon.
Matt Damon,
In the movie Downsizing.
In the movie Downsizing, they give him, well, you get the choice of choosing to downsize. And what basically it is, you shrink and then everything shrinks with you. And so then I think it's because you live for slightly longer, but it's also easier to have a good life.
Because every resource is multiplied by
$500,000 is like 30 million or something. So you can live like a millionaire with having
but
a
you're
middle sort of income.
Yeah, because if you imagine like one little gold ring when you downsize would be like a massive amount.
Yeah, and houses would be cheaper because you don't have to build as much and it's so big. Like they basically live in a Barbie doll house.
Yeah.
And then you have big sized people come around and make sure everything's okay as well. It's like a retirement home.
That sounds like
It's a really interesting film.
it's an interesting concept. I think there's some problems with the economics there.
Yeah, there are some issues with the economics.
I'm
but there's
I'm fine to take it on face value, suspend my disbelief. You know?
Yeah, I also don't think there's enough conflict there to keep me engaged.
Oh, was it a boring film?
I didn't watch it.
Oh, you haven't seen
I
it?
wouldn't know. I've seen it on the free to air ads and I've clicked on it
been
to
like,
record and never watched it and been like, oh, that's an interesting concept. You know where they got it from? Phineas and Ferb. Of course they got
100%.
it from Phineas and Ferb. That's what they were like. They were like, when you're small, a crumb is a cake.
There's this
a comb
secret.
is a jail.
There's this secret in Hollywood where every time you're a new director, you come along and you're like, I've got this film idea,
I
right?
need a fresh
I
idea.
need a fresh film idea. I've got this like I want to direct a film and I know what genre I want it to be and I need something to do it. And one of the older executives, he's a wizened man. He's got a bit of a receding hairline. His hair's grey and he's
He's got
in
a grey
jacket.
beard and he's got a
bit of grey
surfboard
beard.
next to him.
Yes,
Yes,
it is
yes.
Swampy. One of the these movie producers just puts his hand on your shoulder and he goes, "Come with me." And they walk like down the hallway and it's like, they're walking past door after door and he's like, "Where is he taking me?" And you hop in the elevator and then the elevator goes down like 100 floors and there's this underground laboratory and the doors open and it's just the script for every episode of Phineas and Ferb just lined up on a table.
Yeah.
And he goes, "Take your pick." And he's like, "This isn't original." It's like, nothing's original.
Nothing
Everything
ever was.
is Phineas and Ferb. And he's like, "Wait, you mean the whole movie industry is Phineas and Ferb?" And he's like, "Always was." He pulls the gun out.
Always was.
That's that exact
And then
meme.
there's a cut with the planet and the thing. It's like, so nothing's original. Photo of Phineas and Ferb never was. Okay, so
So the other implication that comes out of this song is
there's a scientist
there's
looking
a
down a
scientist.
microscope.
He looks down a microscope and they're just lying on some bacteria like they're lounging in the pool. And I'm like, there's a little disparity here because the entire rest of the thing they've been shown to be a couple inches tall. You can't see, but I'm gesturing at about how tall they were.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, a couple inches. He was gesturing at his pants for that.
My hubris is wounded, but I'm a professional, so we're going to continue. So they're a couple inches tall, and then it shows them just lounging on these bacteria, which means that they are a lot smaller.
As small as a cell, it looked like. And then the cells were playing instrument as well. We're going to skip the instrument playing cells because that's
That's a whole other level of
that's
crazy.
Yeah, I have no clue.
How does that work? Because as far as I was aware, you can't, you can change how many cells a thing's made up of, but you can't actually change the size of the cells because that would change its density. And
Yeah, and also
that up.
first of all, they were floating on a cell, so that means they have to be like lighter than the cell.
Yeah.
And second of all, they're made out of cells.
yeah,
Can you imagine a sculpture of jelly beans, right? So you have a jelly bean sculpture, like I don't know, a dinosaur made of jelly beans. Then you have a single jelly bean, and you're like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to shrink this dinosaur of jelly beans to the size. It doesn't work. You can't shrink all of them to the jelly bean. There's a point where it's too small.
Yeah.
They do it. They can do it. They
Also,
will do it.
I find it interesting how size changing plays with density. Because in Ant-Man,
they're like, it doesn't change your weight. You can punch just as hard, but you can run up a man's arm. Doesn't change their weight. You can fly,
and
or
also it's like it doesn't change. Like he can punch just as hard, but he can fly on an ant. And then when he's giant, he can lift extra amounts of stuff. So which is it?
He's like, it doesn't change.
Does the size affect
how
your
many
strength or not?
atoms? It's the distance between them. He carries a tank on his keychain.
Also, he goes
That's a real tank.
Like he goes into smaller than like.
And then he goes smaller than
that.
He goes into the quantum realm.
It's the most hand wavy movie I've ever seen. They're both decent
fun
movies. Yeah, I don't mind them. They're very fun, but it's the most. It's just like quantum.
You don't go
it's quantum. You can't see, but I'm waving my hand. It's quantum.
You don't go to Ant-Man looking for scientific information though. It's not a documentary.
And do you know where they stole the idea of disregarding science?
Phineas and Ferb. And they don't even need random words to cover it up. They don't need to mention quantum.
Yeah,
because when you're small,
when you're small. Another implication.
Yep.
The entire situation revolving around Baljeet. What's going on there? So Baljeet goes small, and then he goes up on top of the lamp, and he is hanging out there, and he gets trapped there, and they can't get him down because they're small, and the machine gets taken, right? And they basically just have this adventure without Baljeet. Firstly, that's a bit dog, but secondly,
it's cold up there.
It's cold up there because he's right next to the.
Does being small mean you get colder quicker?
Quantum.
No, thermodynamics says yes. You know what doesn't say yes? Floating on cells.
Yeah, whatever.
Quantum
hand wave.
When you're small.
So he's up on top of this lampshade with all the dead flies, and he's like, I don't want to be up here. It's cold. And they're like, we'll get you down as soon as you can, Baljeet. And Baljeet's like, hurry, and he's shivering. That comes in important later because when they go up to get in, they're like, where's Baljeet? And then one of the flies starts quivering and he bursts out of the fly.
He's done a Luke Skywalker.
In a tauntaun. This is somehow more gross than Empire Strikes Back. I thought this was really like, ugh.
Yeah.
And he's like, I did what I had to do to survive. And I'm like, that is dark. This is a children's show. Where did that come from? Holy crap.
Cuts open a fly and lives inside it to keep warm.
And later they're like, why does it smell like frog? Like, why does it smell like fly guts? Firstly, how do you know what fly guts smell like, Candace? Secondly,
how often have you smelled a fly?
Secondly, that's a dark joke.
He's
inside a fly corpse.
He's traumatized. I would be traumatized.
Yeah, 100%. That's awful.
Poor Baljeet. And before that, he gets launched up there by Candace on the umbrella, and he's on the edge of the lamp, holding for dear life.
Yeah, I've got this one written down as well.
And he pulls himself up.
Baljeet doesn't muscle up.
He fucking muscled that shit up. He was
very well done.
Very well done.
He's stronger than me, that's for sure.
There's a lot of 11-year-olds that really struggle with that. And Baljeet doesn't look like he's got much on his arms, but he got there.
Damn, he's working it. Like, he's doing good.
Okay, I've got some more things. So we got to talk about Perry and Doof.
Oh, yep.
So Doof has this master plan, and it doesn't become completely clear until Perry comes home. Not goes home, but comes to...
Doofenshmirtz Incorporated.
And he puts something...
Hit that button.
Oh.
Which one is it?
Beautiful. He goes to his nemesis. I just want to hear the song. That's why we do this podcast.
That's really the reason. It's just so we can hear a couple seconds of Nemesis.
Just so I can hear Nemesis.
It's a good song. We'll listen to it on the car on the way home.
Yeah. Oh, the whole song. Yep. Anyway, so he gets there. Doof puts a thing on his back, and you're like, all right. Usually when people secretly put something on someone, GPS tracking, something like that.
It's a tracer.
It's a tracer, yeah. He goes home and we're like, okay. And then it turns into a spider drone. Okay, that's cool. Like, that's fine. I don't mind you going all out.
Once again, MCU screenwriters get taken down to the vault of Phineas and Ferb episodes. They're like, this one worked so well for Peyton Reed. John Hughes, you're directing Spider-Man Homecoming. Do you want to have a crack at this episode as well? And he's like, absolutely. Spider-Drone, yoink.
You know who else was down there? Ubisoft developers, because they were doing Watch Dogs 3 Legion, and the most OP thing you can get is the spider drone. You can just use it. It can stun, attack, and everything.
What came before both of those things? Phineas and Ferb.
Hell yeah, it did. So, yep. Anyway,
Jeff and Dan deserve a lot of money from Hollywood.
You've ripped them off too long. We found out it's been happening, and so the spider drone. Why does he have a spider drone?
Why doesn't he just have a GPS so he can work out where Perry lives?
So we think, okay, he's got a spider drone. Does he want to like attack Perry while he's sleeping? Does he want to do something evil? Does he want to like steal something? No, he wants to find the mailbox so he knows the address of Perry the platypus.
Now, this is a lot of steps.
This is a lot of effort.
And we've gotten used to Doof putting a lot of effort into not much reward in this show, because that's kind of what he does. But this is really one of those cases where it's just like, Doof, path of least resistance.
Come on.
Just chill out a bit, man.
Anyway, it's really good that he has the spider bot after they destroy it, and Irvin complains that they don't have a plan.
Yeah, his mind is blown when he finds out they've been winging it this entire time.
And we're like,
you do not realise how powerful Phineas and Ferb are.
There's no such thing as winging when everything goes right.
It's just positive vibes all around, man.
Positive vibes all around.
They are floating on nothing but a fat vibe check for the entirety of this show.
But you are right. And they wing it all the time.
He's like, I'm your biggest fan. And it's like, how do you not know they're winging it then?
Yeah, and that scrapbook, I kind of want to see it. And there's some great jokes where he's like, oh, I don't have to bid.
That scrapbook would be a fantastic resource for making this podcast.
All those little references we forget. It'd just be like,
yeah, they'll all be written down there.
By the way, just in case you've forgotten, the costume came from that other episode you watched.
I'm still ashamed by that. We got out-fanned by Phineas and Ferb. What are we doing? We're supposed to be the primary resource.
We wanted to be the official podcast for Phineas and Ferb, and we can't even remember the episodes we've done before. It's terrible.
It's disgraceful, honestly.
Can you imagine if we ever get Disney sanctioned? Because for us to be the official podcast, Disney would have to say, these two blokes, yep, they're the current faces. So you'd have to first convince Dan and Jeff.
I'll be honest.
Disney.
I don't care how good books we get, Dan and Jeff. Do you reckon you could look a Disney exec in the eyes and go, hey, this podcast where I say the word fuck, can you put the Disney logo on it?
Please?
Please?
You won't Deadpool now? Please don't sue us.
Disney's made some like stuff that has swear words in it before, but like not about a children's show.
But we don't like it's
Anyway, I'm glad Perry's getting the day off today.
Yeah, a little bit.
He actually does very little this episode. He goes to Doof's place and he's like, I'm going to have to spend the whole day here. I've got to work 9 to 5. You got to do stuff. And then
9 to 5.
Doof is like, get out of here. And he's like, sweet. And he's just like, all right, I'll go home. And he goes home and he goes down and he has a nap. And then the spider drone comes out. Phineas and Ferb deal with the spider drone. And Perry just wakes up, lifts it up, realizes it's a Doofenshmirtz camera, crushes it, goes back to bed. Love that for him. Like, he's having a day off and he deserves that.
First of all, Mum called me. Second of all, Phineas and Ferb not really destroy the robot. Well, they defeat it. And then Ferb just plays around with the wires, good old-fashioned sci-fi way. And then it gets wings. And they're like, cool.
Now, were the wings built in by Doofenshmirtz? Or were...
Just magic.
Did Ferb just sort that out? Because if Ferb just sorted it out, that is very quick working.
Yeah, but then again, it is in character for Ferb.
It's very in character for Ferb. Side note, I really love how at the end, everyone's like, well done, Phineas, and Irvin goes, and Ferb too. I'm like, this is kind of likable. I appreciate that. Giving Ferb credit. He deserves more credit on things. Good job, Irvin. Well done. Anyway, if it's Ferb, that's very fast working Ferb. If Doof built it in, why was he not using them?
Yeah.
I
guess he didn't need to fly, but yeah.
Still a bit goofy.
They use it to go pick up Candace, who's accidentally shrunk herself and complaining about it. And we get another banging line. And one that if I ever did any sort of shrinking ray, this would be my go-to. I actually might use this anyway. And it's, how you doing, short stuff? Because it's funny, because she's shrunk down to the same size as them. I just like that.
I think that's quite funny.
Bit of sass.
That's about all I've got for this episode. You got
I
anything?
just want to end with the caterpillar would be very scary. Like, I would be terrified if I was smaller than a caterpillar and a caterpillar come up to me. They eat everything and they're so gross. We've got those weird hairy ones.
They've got like pincer teeth, like a circular mouth thing going
actually
on.
made for eating plants that require a lot of ripping when you're that small and like biting and chewing. I'm not about that caterpillar life.
Yeah, caterpillars are pretty gross. Yeah. Anyway, that's about me for that episode.
And then we're up to that sinking feeling.
Yes, that sinking feeling. Now, this is a fantastic episode. This is the episode of romance. So, Bajit's friend that he used to hang out with in India is finally come over to the States.
Yep. And guess what?
That feels like, firstly, looking at the current state of the world, that feels like a downgrade. Don't know if that's accurate, but that's the feeling
Looking at
I'm
this
getting.
kind of state in the world, if she somehow got anywhere internationally travel, she's doing
Yeah,
fantastic.
good job, yeah.
I guess, but also don't because coronavirus.
Yeah, don't be traveling, don't be spreading shit.
Anyway, you know what's scary about this? She's a girl.
Oh my God.
Women.
I can relate to that. He's like, she's a girl. I'm like, preach, Bajit.
Tell us all about it. And the issue he has is because at a young age, he was fine with roughing it up because he hadn't had any experience or felt like women need to be treated differently. And then now that he's older and she's older and is obviously more of a girl, I'm putting my little quotation marks up here. She has to be treated differently. And he's like, how do I do it?
That's what we call a little bit of internalized misogyny.
I know it's not good, but it is a little cute that he cares so much to like try and.
He's so invested. He wants to
trying.
impress her. I appreciate that he's trying, but nah, Bajit, you can treat her the same that you would
Yes.
treat anyone else.
Surprise, surprise, she's a human being.
Let's not go that far. No, that's a joke.
Women are aliens.
We get a banging line at the start of this episode.
Yep.
Phineas and Ferb standing on a ship. And
A huge ship.
A huge,
At least
giant
3
cruise
times
ship.
the size. That
They've
they built in their
already-
backyard
they've-
without water.
This
And we still don't know how
episode-
it gets to water.
This episode is so occupied on the adventure that it doesn't even
Worry about
have
the
a
invention.
second of time for making the invention. Phineas is standing on the ship and she's like, "This is a good boat. My, she's yah." And Ferb goes, "She's in ship shape and Bristol fashion." And Phineas goes, "Well, what does that mean?" And he goes, "Well, what does yah mean?"
Touche.
I'm like, touche. Like, I don't know what either of those mean.
So they built this after they watched Titanic.
Yeah, because we
assumed
see that
lost
later in the
And so they're
episode.
like, you know what we're going to do? We're going to do a Clive Palmer and build Titanic 2. Yeah, I bet you forgot about Clive Palmer.
I forgot Clive Palmer existed.
Yeah, and then he tried to make Titanic 2 and not even as a joke, like actually.
For our international listeners,
If you want to give yourself
how-
a horrible time, but also a tiny bit of a good laugh, Google Clive Palmer and cringe.
yeah, every country has that one dipshit with like weird blonde hair
America's
who's
got a
always
few
trying
more.
to.
Donald
Yeah,
Trump.
but yeah, we've got Donald Trump, we've got Boris Johnson. Australia's got one as well. His name's Clive Palmer. The difference between Clive and Boris and Trump is that where Boris and Trump got somehow elected to be the leader of their nation, Clive Palmer's a dipshit and we bullied him out of parliament.
He got slapped out of there.
We bullied him because we're a sane country.
Yeah.
And instead of electing idiots, we bully them.
He wanted to make Jurassic Park. Did you know that?
No.
He tried to make dinosaurs. He wanted dinosaurs. He tried to make a dinosaur park. He's a
There's
fucking
5
moron.
movies about
There is
how that's a
5
bad
movies
idea.
about how it's a bad idea, goes wrong, and no, it's never a good idea. And he's
He's like, with the dinosaurs.
and you know what's even funnier? He's Australian. If he wants to see dinosaurs, he literally has to look outside. What is he doing?
We still have living dinosaurs.
Have you seen a crocodile?
You ever seen a Komodo
Do
dragon?
you know why crocodiles haven't evolved since the dinosaur era? Because they haven't had to.
They don't
They're
need
the
to.
perfect killing machine. And this man wants to bring back more of them?
You ever seen a goanna? Did you ever go to a
They're
national
crazy.
park with a
They're
goanna?
a dragon without
They're
wings.
literally a dragon. Like they are huge. They are scary. You don't need to bring dinosaurs back. They're already
He
here.
wanted to bring dinosaurs back, but his biggest thing is he wanted to make Titanic 2, and he wanted to make it a tourism thing. Because who wouldn't want to go on the Titanic 2? It's dumb. Anyway, Phineas and Ferb once again build Titanic, and Clive Palmer was down in the little studio to find out the original idea.
Clive Palmer was like, I need a political campaign to run on. And he goes down to the thing and they're like, this is for stories. And he's like, stories and political campaigns are the same thing, mate. And he picks up a random one, and he picks up the one where they're riding the dinosaurs around in the Time Machine episode. And they're like, you're like, that'll do.
That'll do. And then this was this like second cut.
Yep.
Anyway, so they built the Titanic cruise just for fun in their backyard without water.
Yeah, so that's our main implication for this episode. How do they get it to the harbour?
It just like drives, but we never see wheels or anything.
Do you reckon? Yeah, because we don't really see the bottom of the ship.
No.
Except for the one shot where it's kind of just sitting in the room.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
where you just see the
And it's like sitting in the water and stuff. I think it's just on wheels. I think that's...
I think they've just got wheels.
But they,
or maybe
they don't go out to explain it. So it could just be making a huge line.
just it's driving through houses and like ruining streets, and it's just leaving like burst pipelines like shooting up into the air.
10-year-olds on the top of it going, yar, yar.
Can you imagine if just a boat drove through your house and then a couple of 10-year-olds just yelled, yar,
Yar, and the Baljeets at the stop. How do I do romance?
Oh man, you'd think everyone would think you're insane. They'd think you destroyed your house for insurance fraud. I swear, a bunch of 10-year-olds on a boat just drove through it.
Get out of here.
So we get a great line where Phineas is like, Budget's like, I don't know what girls like. And Phineas is like, well, isn't it sugar and spice and everything nice? And he's like, no, that's what they're made of. I don't want to build one. That's a great line.
It's good stuff. And so Phineas and Ferb decide to help Baljeet and base this romantic thing off Titanic, which is fair enough. And they go to a lot of effort because, of course, they do. And they've already built the cruise, so that's handy.
Love to see it.
And she's like, okay, this sounds all right. It sounds like fun. I'd go on a cruise.
Hello.
There's some random people as we're handing our headsets and microphones.
Yeah, we completely lost the train of thought there.
They help the girl. I like you say train of thought because there's just one between us both.
Yeah. Well, it's a boat of thought because in this episode it's a boat.
Phineas and Ferb made this one as well.
So one of my favorite jokes in this episode is that Candace is just standing there and she just hears the boat behind her and she's on the phone and she just goes, I'll call you back, Stacey, and just calls the mum. She doesn't even turn around.
She doesn't even turn around.
She just knows.
Hears Phineas and Ferb saying, oh, hi, Candace.
Because she just hears them go past and then she hears like a... And she's like, they've built a boat. They've built a cruise ship. That is the only explanation. She doesn't even check.
Calls her mother. And then we get to like another one later on of the weirdest but funniest moments we've had.
I've literally got, what the hell is Linda doing written in my notes.
They're a very weird but
it seems like
cute
she's at the
couple.
salon and she's like, all right, I'm gonna call mum, and she's like at the
But in
salon.
the background, it kind of looks like the living room. I saw that and I was like, that's a bit
I'm like,
weird.
oh, that's a bit weird. But no, she's at the salon and she's getting her hair blown.
Permed or whatever.
And then Candace hangs up and then it cuts to the mum and she's like, do you think she knows we're in the living room? And it pulls out and she's just got this bucket on her head with a pipe attached to it. And Lawrence is just blowing into the edge of the pipe. And she's like, I don't think so. And then there's a pause and she just goes, you know, I think it does sound like the sea.
And they just smile and have a cute little moment.
They're just doing weird shit. They're so bored. Like, fair enough. I do that too.
And then later on, Candace calls them again. And then in the background, the dad's like spinning the thing. And he's like,
it sounds like an alien spaceship. And she's like, okay, give me a try.
she's like,
It's just, they're both weird, but they're meant for each other. And we love to see it.
It was so good. So Doof and Perry, again, good stuff. Doof succeeds this time, though, kind of. Perry doesn't go all of it out of his way to stop it, and he doesn't have to do the whole big thing. And once again, Doof doesn't say, curse you, Perry the Platypus. That's twice, like in this episode and the last one. But it's still, when he leaves, all sad and sorry, it's still got the...
The juxtaposition of him just quietly walking out the door with his like head kind of hung and then just getting that absolute banging like little stinger is
good stuff.
It's so funny. So Doof's plan is basically to move a lighthouse so that he can move the ships away from his house because he bought cheap real estate without thinking through the consequences. Firstly, bad job buying there. But
Imagine being able to buy a house.
Imagine being able to buy a house. So, we always thought that he was renting, but no, he's the house owner. And that makes sense because when he buys it, it's an empty skyscraper. when, like, later, there's people living on the floors below
so
him.
maybe he rents it
So
out.
he's renting it out.
But
It's some recouping his
somehow
money. Fair
it's
enough.
got a huge amount of air horns from ships because the lighthouse is kind of close.
Which is weird because it's inland.
So
Like,
he turns the lighthouse into a rocket.
it's less of an issue with the real estate and more of an issue with Danville's noise control and zoning for their harbour.
Yeah.
Like, they've just done a bad job with designing the
So
port.
instead of doing the correct thing, going towards the council with a bill and a form saying this is incorrect, you need to start thinking about better development of your harbour.
Because you
and
have
acoustic
residents
and sound
living in the
issues.
central city of your town, of your place. And you
Yeah,
don't
and your
wanna-
harbour's way too close.
Yeah, exactly.
He decides to put a rocket attached to the underneath of the harbour lighthouse because that's what boats, they're like
what
moths
yeah.
to a flame, and just shoot it up 90 degrees. And that's it. No steering, no anything.
Just hope it lands in the right spot.
Just out of there. He wants it out of there.
It's probably his least thought through plan ever.
And it's the one that
It's
succeeds.
hilarious.
It's the one that Perry didn't stop.
Yep. So Perry doesn't stop him. So there's just this lighthouse going around, and it's making all of the boats follow.
Meanwhile, Phineas and Ferb are doing their
Their
romance
romantic
thing,
cruise.
and it's not
Is-
working.
Oh no!
It's
Firstly,
seeming-
no. Going back a second,
Oh.
really cute moment. Isabella shows up,
yeah,
and
yeah.
Phineas goes, "Hey, Isabella, what you doing?" And they're like, "Well, working on a patch and all that sort of stuff." And he's like, "Cool. Do you want to come on a romantic cruise?" And Isabella's like, "Oh my god, really?" And he's like, "Yeah, it'll be fun."
And she's like,
"Yeah." She's like winning, and Phineas really treats her. Like, I
Kind
know
of.
there's the joke
A little bit.
bit later where it like shows them go to a romantic dinner and then plot twist it's actually for Bajit and there's nothing prepared. But he still holds a
said the
hand the
thing.
entire
He
time.
said
They
the
run
thing.
around together. He says the thing. He's being nice to her, and like, you know, I think that's really cool of him.
Yeah. Anyway, so the romance isn't going well because they had too many rose petals, the band was too close, and Cupid was way too low. He was
Yeah,
too close to
Buford the Cupid. That's the cool wordplay.
Cupid. I love that line. That was so good. Anyway, so they're not thinking it's working, and he's like, "We've done everything on the list. I don't understand. This is how Titanic went. This is exactly how Titanic
What
went.
have we got? We've
Why
got
doesn't it
the
work?"
romance. We've got the dinner. We've got the cruise. What's left? Sink the ship.
And we're not going to do that because this is a good quality ship. We aren't going to do that.
It's the lighthouse.
Just
It's
straight through.
straight through the ship. All of a sudden, the ship's sinking. And they're like, "Where are the lifeboats?"
No, and then Phineas is like, "Oh, yeah, no, that'll do it.
That'll do it. Yeah,
That'll
yeah,
do it.
yeah,
That'll
yeah.
get the ship sinking."
Remaining calm under pressure. We love to see it. So
They all run to the edge of the boat as it's
he's
starting
like,
to sink, and
they're like, "Where's the life
How are we going to
preservers?"
survive?
And he's like, "We don't have life preservers." And I'm like, "Phineas,
Come on, bro.
you're a cool dude, and I know that
watched
things
the
always go your way.
Titanic.
But not only have you watched the Titanic and seen the tragedy that happened there, but also you're a man who cares about the safety of the general populace." To a degree, there's a large asterisk there about that time that he killed 150 million people. But we're ignoring that. I'm like, "Phineas, what are you doing?"
Yeah, this
and
is
then he's
crazy.
like, "We've got fun preservers. Firstly, this is more dangerous than the sinking ship. But secondly, it looks fantastically fun,
It looks
doesn't
like
it?"
a lot of fun. And so it just like the thing that the platform they're standing on, which is kind of close to the water, goes up further away from
And
the water.
stabilizes itself, flattens out so it's not on an angle.
Huge water slide comes out of the edge, and it goes on top of the destroying, sinking ship. And then they proceed to make water go down it, and life rafts come out, and so you can go wee straight right down.
That looks like hella fun.
And it works. They all get out safely. They all have a lot of fun, and they never miss. 100% success rate on the romantic cruise. They're kind of cute together, Baljeet.
Bajit and his girl. What was her? I didn't write her name
didn't
down.
write her name down
But yeah, it's really cute of them. They get to hang out together. They get to.
All
Bajit
part
realizes
of the plan.
Yes. Bajit realizes that he's had like a bit of internalized misogyny going on, and he's like, "So you just wanted to be treated like a person?" She's like, "Yeah, dude. Let's
Like
just
how
keep
I was
having
treated
fun."
before
Yeah.
with a kid, and it was
Yeah,
easy.
and good on him. And last but not least, Candace is like, "Do you reckon you could do that for me and Jeremy as well?" They do the exact same thing. Too many rose petals, too much music. Buford the Cupid, too low. And Jeremy looks on her and goes, "This is fun and all, but do you want to go grab a slushy burger?" And it's like, they
100%.
never miss.
100%
You create an
success
awkward
rate.
situation, you set them up like that, and then because it's like the
It's
flirting's
just-
working,
It's the best way to do it.
it just, yeah, easy.
All part of the plan.
All part of the plan.
All right, so we should finish it, and you should read to me an Instagram DM.
Yes. We have got two messages. Firstly, we have got a message from Alex. Alex has just recently started a podcast,
Yes.
and we love to see it.
What's it called?
It is called the Disney Channel Discourse.
And I had a quick listen to it. I just forgot the name because I'm horrible at remembering things. And I quite liked it. So if you want to listen to it.
Alex is a long-time listener, and
He was I think he was the first person to ever write in on the pod.
Yeah, good on him.
Yeah,
so
and
he's
doing his own podcast. And he's done one before, and this is his solo one. And yeah,
we love to see it.
Stuff.
We want to see more podcasts popping up. We want to see people doing stuff that they're interested in. So go give Disney Channel Discourse a bit of a stretch.
And we want you to write in and say hi.
Write in and say hi. Just give us attention. We crave validation from the internet.
We need to know we're going okay.
And then secondly, we got a message from Louisa. How do you say it?
I assume it's Louisa?
Yeah.
Or Louise.
Louise or Louisa. I'm very sorry if we got the name wrong.
Even
even things where you specifically go, by the way, my name is just a way of saying this. We still can't pronounce it
because she told us how to say it.
She told us how to say it. We still can't say it. So
what's your
be prepared for that.
I'm a podcaster. Can you say things? No.
I can't. I can do the one. I can't do the one skill that podcasting requires, and that's speaking basically and competently. We're fantastic at this. But she writes in to say, hey guys, I'm just here to say that I really enjoyed listening to your podcast and to congratulate you for such amazing work. Spotify just showed me how fast I became a fan, and I'm wishing you all the best. And she sent a screenshot of her Spotify Wrapped, and we are her biggest podcast binge listen.
Hell yeah.
That feels good. If we were on your Spotify Wrapped, send us the screenshot in.
Please do.
Let us know.
My sister did.
Yep.
Please join us with that.
Exactly, because that feels pretty good. We're getting us the streams, and we really appreciate it.
You know what was my most listened to podcast?
What?
The Implications of Phineas and Ferb.
Well, you love to see it.
You should go check it out.
100%. It's a good podcast. And we said, hey, can we read that out on the podcast? And she's like, yeah, sure. It for sure helped me in feeling better during quarantine, but it also made me revisit shows that reminded me to keep the childish side alive. Good. That's our intention with this show.
This is who we are. We're keeping the childish side alive.
We are adults now as well. You don't need to grow up just because you're an adult. Yeah, technically adults.
Technically.
But you don't have to grow up just because you're an adult. Keep watching the stuff that you love.
Yes.
Hell yeah. And
Phineas and Ferb.
that is a fantastic note to end it on. If you want to reach us, write to implicationsof@phineasandferb@gmail.com or jump on the Instagram, Implications of Phineas and Ferb. Maybe even try the TikTok
or the
Implications
Twitter.
of Phineas and Ferb, the Twitter
of
_Ferb.
Yeah, but yes, please go there.
Go check them all out. Send us messages, follow us, see all that sort of cool stuff.
It'll be good stuff.
And that's about it. I know what we've done today.
Hit
your outro button thing.
The Implications of Phineas and Ferb. Listen to it whenever you can.